Okay, let's call a meeting. Waiting for Senator Cayetano on our agenda. Maybe our commissioner, of course, Senator Cayetano is here now. He's the author of one of the resolutions. We'd like to greet, and I don't know if congratulate is the right word, the new commissioner of the Bureau of Customs and the former commissioner, our former colleague in the port congestion, lost more than 1.3 trillion in revenue from 2002 to 2011 due to technical smuggling through the country's ports. That's by Senator Santiago. And of course, other items which this is the third hearing on, that's the Customs and Tariff Modernization Act of 2013 and various other 5 other bills to amend the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines. But first, we'll ask that we recognize the guests, and then we'll give the floor over to the author of the resolution, Senator Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Senator Cayetano, Senator Zangara, and Attorney Das from Drug Enforcement Agency. From Justice, we have Attorney Melvin Suarez, State Counsel of Alianza Agricultura. The General Manager of the Association of International Shipping Lines, Attorney Maximino Cruz, SGS Limited Managing Director, Mr. Ariel Miranda, VP for External Affairs, European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, Mr. Henry Schumacher, and from the American Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, Mr. Nekea, the Tax Research.
In this important matter, of course, this important 2 peso corruption. So people compute the budget, let's say 2 trillion pesos, and say 10% go to corruption, so it's 200 billion. No? But people do not talk about what is said. And if it is true that 2 pesos is not collected, that means that we can actually have a 7.8 trillion peso budget instead of a 2.6 trillion. And we can easily double or triple of government employees and officials to prevent corruption, if that is true, trillion. And we can easily double or triple to focus on 4 things with your permission. And after the Bureau of Customs, this representation request that you said, and after the resource person, what this represented to address both the efficiency of collection and number 2, port congestion. Number 2, what happened to the 5-year strategic plan of the Bureau of Customs, and whether or not the new commissioner, in broad strokes, is going to modify that, carry that out, is studying it right now, or whether it's of the plan that are followed, plans that are redone. And lastly, Mr. Chair, is proofs of the plans that are redone. And lastly, Mr. Chair, is pollution, both for port congestion and also for increasing the both for port and also for increasing our collection. We have been fighting about port barrel, about President Ramos, and President Estrada's statistics or tax efficiency is even higher than President Aquino. So I'm sure that the present administration now would like to end the term of President Aquino with a higher tax efficiency rate than President Estrada's time. I know that the economy is doing much better now than then, but still, we look at all of this, and one of the promises of the President is not to have new taxes, on the premise that you do not need new taxes, but what you can do is collect better. So I'll stop there, Mr. President, but just a last comment. I'm very, very happy to see a committee hearing that is jam-packed with people and resource persons and some of the most respected people in our country, aside from the BBL and the BNI hearing. So this is let me congratulate the chairman. This is the first hearing, aside from the two controversial hearings, that I've seen real interest, no? Despite the issue being non-controversial. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano. Contrary to popular belief, we're working here in the Senate. So, your permission, we'll call maybe the DOF first to give their comments on DOF.
maybe, Mr. Chairman, the DOF and the Bureau. Then after we can go to...
Yeah. So we call the
formal
DOF.
commission.
Secretary of Tourism is represented by Yusek Karag. Yusek, please.
Mr. Chair, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For the DOF, we actually embarked on a reform program to cover for certain issues that we felt were causing some problems in collection in the Bureau before. So, since the highlights of our customs reform program, I will just indicate some highlights of our customs reform program, and these are we have initiatives to improve budget and staffing. We also had embarked on initiatives to simplify processes. We have started initiatives to ameliorate port congestion, the port congestion problem, and we of course have our we have heightened effort in our Run After the Smugglers program. We heightened our effort on internal policy. We have a program to improve data disclosure, transparency, and accountability, Mr. Chair. And we have also improved the auction proceedings and our collections arising therefrom. And of course, we had some solutions in respect of the problem on rice smuggling, tobacco smuggling, and we had a lot of high-profile. I'm reading from a report, sorry, Mr. Chair. Of course, we also have.
Could you give us a copy of the report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will provide you.
You have one now, so we can follow your discussion.
No, I only have my copy, but we can have it for the...
I suppose ASEC Riesa will give the... Sir?
Good afternoon, Senator Angara. Cayetano. I was appointed last weeks with the Bureau of Customs, but I've been appointed 105 for 5 months. Then I'm now back. Go to the issue raised by good Senator Cayetano on because the impact really has made the businessman suffers because of the port congestion, and the issue raised is what is cost. And then the following we observe: one, most covered by customs, meaning to say our jurisdiction does not cover that we missed to see, even when I was the former commissioner at that time. We thought all the while that the Bureau of Customs covers the ports. So, to me, collecting duties and taxes is not only one of the jobs of the Bureau of Customs, but is to facilitate trade. And now, since forward, what will I do to avoid port congestion? We will now require to inward manifest the value of the good or what you call the other importers would change the value of the invoice once it's entered to the country. So if we have the advance manifest, they will have no more time to change the value of the goods that they will file with the import entry. Because most of the time, some naughty people will change the value, and that would underdeclare the value, so we collect less taxes. And that is one of the measures that I will do to avoid the leakage in the duties and taxes. Now, this is where I really need the help of Congress to support me in this endeavor, because a lot of our friends in the shipping lines doesn't want to put the value in their manifest, because according to them, that is not within the WTO Congress to support me in this endeavor for us to be able to plug in the duties and taxes. This can be done because in the air operations, Your Honor, most of the integrate time. So, as I told them, the slow boat to China or the shipping lines can do it much better than the airlines because they have all the time to prepare the manifest with the value put into the manifest. So that is what I will be doing to plug in the leakage. This was not done before, but this time it will be done. You asked about, the pre-inspection. This was done before, but I think with proper management and governance, we don't need the pre-inspection because our friends from the different chambers really oppose on this. On this very reason that the amount of money we will pay for the inspection will rather give the money to our own people. If we will spend 2 billion or 3 billion to increase our revenue, I, for one, would really work that this money be...
Sure, may I just start? More or less yearly. Ngayon po, sabi ni Ted Filon, and I asked some importers, they agree, patong na port fee is almost $1,000 per. So one time someone, our own people, there's always, but the problem is that it's clear, the value coming in. The problem is if the value is correct. Kung walang pre-inspection, they can still just under-declare. It's just that they will under-declare from the start rather than change it in the middle of the trip. Tama po ba?
Tama po.
Unlike kung may pre-inspection, someone checked it for us already. And tingnan to ng gobyerno. Because, and the importers, media ng 1 week so solved. Na po tayo dyan sa port congestion. Permit and leg. So, in the local governments, they came up with a one-stop shop. In the registration of new businesses coming into the country, may one-stop shop. Sa port, bakit we have a one-stop shop para mas mabilis? Sir, is this part of your plans?
Mr. Chair, I think
Mind the red tape law. So I think definitely let's give ourselves a deadline.
The mayor is so close to the people, the governor. She works in the restaurant, like my wife. When she eats in the restaurant, sasabihin nung waitress Ma'am, bakit may ganitong permit pa kami? Pagdating ng resibo, kikita niya kung may tax wala, the owner says, Ma'am, sabi niyo 1 day. Kaya ang bilis ng change. But sa inyo, sir, to be 1 year na umaangal lahat ng chamber. But the port congestion is still there. And I just mentioned the FDA, but I can mention to you many departments. The same problem. It's kung ang time and motion nyo half day, look at the DOTC. We will be hearing them on Thursday. They said you can get a plate at 7 days. Or who here has a new car? Do you have a plate? And we're suffering and no one's doing anything about it.
The process, what makes the whole thing last for 1 day, 2 days?
Are both from Central Zone, are willing to take part of the traffic less answer. Mr. Chair, with your permission, Commissioner Biasan.
Yes, Commissioner Rufy Bias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a comment with regard to the desire of having a one-stop shop for customs clearance. With regard to there was a budget appropriated background, we were able to transfer because I came in sometime September of 2011, and the fund to National Single Window 2 was about to end its life. And we did not have enough time to complete it for that year. So what we did was we had it transferred to the DBM for them to do a transfer of, and it was difficult or even impossible to have us physical ones. Really can't avoid going to different agencies because they have certain really can't avoid going through these different agencies. Yun naman sabihin, actually dun pa lang nagkakaroon na tayo ng problem.
So you're in favor of pre-shipment?
Or actually during my time when the BOC proposed, Your Honor, because it was actually that we can employ. If I may share with you my perceptions, because big problem in customs, because sa lahat natin sa lahat, yun ho yung inaabuso at yun din yung nagiging action. So when you have a trader who is facing such kind of regulatory power na inaabuso, yun ho ang unang ginagawa or naiisip ng trader. Find a way, di ho ba? And sometimes sila and then tell them, not necessarily legitimately pumapasok talaga sa coffers of government. What about trade facilitation?
What's your was the increase in revenue that drastic, 25%, or was it 5%, or was it much more? Admiral testing or
programs, provides number one. But I think the advance the program, the incentive of the program. Because when you have advanced cargo clearance, that simply means that even whilst your goods are in transit, you can already process your import permit or your import payments. And the whole, despite the price, the issue is always about who pays. Now in this,
because it may be the other agencies.
Senator, yes, you're kidding. Previous ones are. So in 5 days, as long as the papers are. We have also what you call, like, we can do it a pre-clearance. That is within our procedures.
I'm glad you mentioned KPI because if there's anything good that will come out of this investigation, KPIs that we can.
Oh yes, yes, Mr. Senator.
Also with
The defense.
Maybe I comment on that, Mr. Chair. There are two kinds of in the Manila Ports. There are two charges imposed. Just a surcharge. There is the emergency cost. As of we can also attest to, 17 liners, 17 major carriers have already withdrawn the port congestion surcharge. Some might have complained because they are still being assessed, because this might refer to the lines who have not yet withdrawn the port congestion. As the emergency cost already withdrawn the port complaint because they are still being assessed. Because this might refer to the lines who have not yet. We could say all these charges because of the
industry as
so
you're saying
of
by implication.
Around 80% of the container volume coming into the Philippines. So that's exclusive of 36, 20.
Then give us how long it took each chairman to.
Yusek Ordonez, go ahead.
And we still have to wait for them and beg them we should get in as a.
No, I'm not saying
That's
that,
the
Mr.
implication
Chair.
of data for us.
Doing business. The report is online. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
So we'll go if there are no other. Yeah, Yusek, please.
In respect of the processing time, I've just been handed a report that from an average of 4 to 5 days processing time, it is now down to 2 days. This is BM data.
What are you quoting, Yusek?
2M data, sir.
Sige, can you furnish us?
Mr. Chair, may I just read this into the record now? This is what Commissioner Biason mentioned. This is from the World Bank. Philippines total 15 days, Singapore total 4 days. US dollars cost Philippines $915, Singapore $440. No? So document preparation, Philippines 8 days, Singapore 1 day. Customs clearance and inspection, Philippines 2 days, Singapore 1 day. Ports and terminal handling 3 days, handling the cargo. But it's if it besides being 3 times lower, we're more than twice the cost. No? So if we can get nearer to that, no? Again, see some in 3 months or next administration na lang. Next one. The custom commissioner seems to be more rara.
We're a team, Mr. Chair.
Elon.
So just to wrap up, just to clarify also, the 15 days that to deliver the incentives of the program, cargo clearance procedure, and immediate release from customs custody. Now, based on that discussion by the businessmen, the traders, that if indeed
Proof of concept, Mr. Senator.
Yeah.
If Mr. Drilon would do a 1 month free inspection free, any single centavo, then I will agree on that. That's what I do in my previous businesses. I do a proof of concept.
Well, anyway, the challenge is tossed back to the industry, and why don't we discuss it?
And it is still mine if that is that we should not be the one to pay. It should be the government. Why? In the provisions of Customs and Tariff Code, they say that.
You know, pero yung, if you eventually more, 10,000 a month, 1,000. So again, do we include the solution? No?
Let me follow up. In the last meeting we had with Mr. Commissioner Bertlina, there was an agreement that if customs can get the inward foreign manifest, kasi binabato yan ng barko, even for kaagad, na mukhang maliit ang bill.
Traders. And I've noticed in the different business groups I've been attending during sa ating bansa, no? Okay, so kayo naman sir, that's why happening actually kills much of the industry in the country. So, Chinese Chamber, PCC, I mean government 23 years next month. So, factories, we probably have...
ISO's system has a system where we cut smuggling by 25%, not because we caught the congressman at the 3%. The last year, it went down because we have another legislation. We think that the system, like the
good terminal testing. Now, of the trade, the advantage of having a pre-shipment inspection is before you will be able to give a report to the Bureau of Customs electronically, the quantity.
It's that we've seen is that, and Senator Cayetano also mentioned it, smuggling has happened, and also Traders are only doing a quality and quantity inspection. Valuation is still under the responsibility and jurisdiction of the Bureau of Customs. Thank you.
And of providing valuation and classification as recommended by the pre-shipment inspection company. Main difference, just to put on record, during those PSI program from
Measure what is in.
this is just based on the evaluation that we have provided. Everything, sir. Basically, 50% of the ship or their work to the PSI system.
Ano yung hindi dumadaan sa inyo nun?
Bulk being with an inspection. I agree with my colleagues that it would be beneficial to customs and to the country.
Thank you. Are you, just a question to those who have spoken in the industry, are you all surveyed as their...
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon to everyone. As per the smuggling, they use awareness standing on nabubuksan sa labas ang so that was 2008. They were in the same area. I'm not doing so yan ang I do not want to be unmarried sa lawyer na mga Indonesian. Yung paglabas
para sugpuin tong nabanggit nyo na yung Subic with respect to certain sugpo ng...
yung one pre-inspection, I think, because way back in, nandyan na kami when there was martial law. Yung home consumption value, matagal na yan. Pero noon, ang target lang was Japan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Ngayon, it is worldwide na yan eh. So,
ask for a setting you. I think it calls on yung BIR, kasama din yung ibang fees, smuggling of goods. This the President saw in 2013. So, it's very clear to me here that in his midterm, he wanted to address this, and he was disappointed that it's happening. But as all the former commissioners have attested, in fact, Senator Ping Lacson, I think, was offered the job. And I don't know if he was formally offered the job, but he told us,
Let's begin yung
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As with all those bad cases, so that was a big hole that we have.
just for the ones who get work.
But just to highlight the point, Mr. Chairman, that the methods that are being used in terms of smuggling drugs into the country. Yung
and here Veritas Philippines. Joan.
Joan Chris.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon. By my colleagues, I just by Mr. Fermin from Cotecna regarding the bulk and break.
Shortly, we have been working on inclusive growth. I'm of the opinion, or we are of the opinion, that it makes sense to look at this from a point of view that smuggling happens along the China side now. I'm also concerned, and my friends from FPI mentioned that the cost involved has to be looked easier, comes at the same time.
Guys, can I ask you not do it? So, if you
Proceed, Senator. But as of now, we're doing a single window. As a matter of fact, PESA is a living proof of a national single window, which constitutes almost 30%. Really is the back end of each agency.
yes.
So the front end is almost ready, but the back end
That's precisely, sir, why I haven't been asking you.
really delaying the back end.
That's precisely, sir, why I haven't been asking the DOF, because the secretary, other secretary, at least be friendly with them in the. But a bureau head, no matter how powerful, cannot tell the other secretaries, at least and if I'm not mistaken, the president, this economic cluster.
Actually, the Port Users Confederation has submitted a position paper opposing the on constitutional grounds. Actually, there is a
Kayong
draft.
gumawa ko, no? Kayong gumawa. Okay. You were opposing it
Yes.
in 2000.
The recent.
Recently.
The
What does it say?
it says that the power to examine